Welcome to this explainer. Let's just jump right in, shall we? Today we're unpacking the absolutely mind-bending narrative of mystical roses of Eden. I want you to imagine waking up one morning and realizing that everything you thought was solid, permanent, and, scientifically proven is actually just a temporary dream. We're going to break down the impossible event that literally shattered consensus reality in this story, a phenomenon known historically within the text as the blooming.
So what happens when reality remembers it's a garden? This question perfectly sets the tone for our entire journey today. The characters in this narrative aren't facing your typical dystopian apocalypse with fire and brimstone. No, they're facing an unveiling. It's a moment where the rigid, mechanical world we all take for granted suddenly wakes up and just decides to bloom. Ask yourself, if the walls of your room started breathing right now, would you run in terror or would you stay and watch?
The awakening begins with a deeply visceral anomaly. Listen to this opening line. The roses in Dr. Miriam Kesh's laboratory weren't supposed to bleed. It's such a powerful quote to kick things off. This is the very first crack in the foundation of the world. Dr. Miriam Kesh, who is this purely rational botanist, pricks her finger on a hybrid rose, specimen RX447. But instead of just seeing her own blood on the thorn, she finds the rose has developed what look like pulsing red capillaries. It's deeply unsettling, and it forces us to ask, where exactly is the line between plant and animal, and what on earth happens when the universe decides to blur it?
Section 1. The cracks in reality.
This paradigm shift happens incredibly fast. We are talking a matter of days. On Tuesday, we get those first anomalies, like Dr. Kesh's bleeding rose. By Sunday, a small group of just 37 people, the sensitive ones who actually notice what's happening, gather at the public library. Just 4 days after that, on Thursday, the Riverside Park gathering explodes to over 10,000 people. And by Friday morning, the great blooming has concluded, and new Eden emerges. In less than 2 weeks, the impossible goes from a localized laboratory glitch to a globally undeniable new existence.
And when I say undeniable, I mean things get wildly, beautifully bizarre across the city of New Alexandria. While Dr. Kesh is watching her plants evolve nervous systems, the rest of the city is experiencing a full-scale reality breakdown. We're talking levitating coffee cups rotating clockwise and park fountains flowing upward, totally ignoring gravity. ATMs are dispensing bills with pictures of flowers instead of presidents. Books in the library are literally rewriting and reorganizing themselves. Animals start speaking. There's this incredibly surreal moment with a multi-eyed squirrel talking about the apocalypse, and trees are visibly breathing and pulsing. The sheer scale of this is staggering. The world isn't collapsing. It's actively rebelling against physics to show us something deeper.
Section 2. The waking dreamers.
Now look at the profound tension between these two states of being. On the left, we have the old world, or the dream of separation. It's solid, separate, safe, armored, and fiercely logical. Basically, it's the world we live in right now. But on the right, we have the great blooming. This new reality is fluid, deeply connected, infinite, embracing multiple truths all at once, and it's fundamentally structured like a garden rather than a machine. The tension of this entire explainer is all about that terrifying, ecstatic leap from the left side to the right side.
We actually get to experience this leap through 3 brilliantly distinct lenses. First, there's Dr. Miriam Kesh, our rational scientist who's forced to confront reality when her rose RX447 develops a literal brain. Then we have Valente, a rigid investment banker. His awakening hits him like a freight train right in the shower. It's the spontaneous, reality-shattering vision of a singing, infinite garden that makes him question his entire highly structured life. And finally, Sera, an underground mystic living on the streets. She doesn't fight it at all. She just transpaints a massive, prophetic subway mural of a multi-eyed garden that actually moves. So you have science, finance, and raw mysticism, all arriving at the exact same impossible truth.
Which leads us to this absolutely stunning piece of wisdom. Sanity is a small room. You've stepped outside. It's frightening at first. Then it's freedom. You know who says this? It's not a guru or some philosopher. It's actually spoken by the conscious, highly evolved plant RX447, speaking directly to Dr. Kesh. It totally challenges our entire definition of what is normal. If normal is just a small, locked room, wouldn't you want to step outside even if it scares you?
Section 3. The Riverside Gathering. 10,000. That's how many people converge on Riverside Park as a massive 6-hour-long sunset paints the sky. And it's not just humans, by the way. This gathering includes mutated animals and conscious plants, all drawn by this magnetic pull to the amphitheater.
The sheer scale of this event is breathtaking. It's a massive congregation of the willing, the terrified, and the awakened, all just waiting for the veil to finally drop.
So, what exactly are they waiting for? Let's define it clearly. The blooming is a reality-bending event where the boundaries between plant, animal, and human dissolve, uniting all consciousness into a single vast superorganism. It's not the end of the world, it's the end of separation. It is a profound biological and spiritual unification. This is absolutely crucial because it shifts the whole apocalypse narrative from destruction to radical evolution.
Section 4. The Great Blooming.
Break beautifully. If you're going to break, break beautifully. Sera's poetic prose here perfectly captures the agonizing yet ecstatic physical shattering these characters endure. As reality cracks, they don't just stand there and watch, they participate. They physically and mentally dissolve into light, color, and pure creative force. It's traumatic for sure, but it's fundamentally a healing process.
Now, the physical transformations they undergo are incredibly bizarre. Take Dr. Miriam Kesh. She goes from a human botanist to a being with 9 functioning eyes and greenish chlorophyll-infused skin. Marcus Valente goes from an isolated individual banker to a distributed consciousness. He literally exists everywhere simultaneously, experiencing reality from 10,000 perspectives at once. RX-447 transforms into this massive entity with a face made of stamens and petals that speaks in harmonies. And the city of New Alexandria itself mutates from steel and glass into living wood architecture with vertical gardens and rivers for streets. The old forms are just gone. Everything is a hybrid now.
But what happens to their minds during all of this? Well, the network forms. Now, this isn't some dystopian hive mind that erases your individuality. Instead, it's described as a mycelial web of consciousness. Every single person retains their autonomy and their unique personality, but they are completely linked up. They can share thoughts, emotions, and resources in real time, functioning together as a highly coordinated superorganism. It is basically the ultimate empathy engine.
Section 5. The New Eden.
To put this into perspective, the sheer scale of the fallout is staggering. Out of the city's 2 million citizens, only about 10% successfully transformed into coherent beings in this network. That's about 50,000 people. 40% scattered or became ambient consciousness, basically dissolving into the background environment. 30% are somehow still sleeping, locked away in psychological denial. And 20% fled the city entirely. It really highlights that this radical evolution was a brutal, highly selective filter. Not everyone made it through the chrysalis. But for those who did survive, the work begins immediately. Miriam, along with a teenager named Sera, lead a highly structured 4-step organization effort. Step 1 is search and rescue for the injured or those trapped in bad transformations. Step 2 focuses on resource gathering for those who still biologically need to eat or drink. Step 3 is establishing communication to reach other transformed cities. And Step 4 is rigorous documentation, recording this entirely new set of physical laws. Because, even in a mystical garden, we still need logistics to survive.
All right, let's dive into our final thought for today. Are you ready to stop pretending you're separate? Mystical Roses of Eden uses the extreme scenario of a reality-breaking blooming to ask us a very grounded question about our own lives. We spend so much energy building walls, acting like we're isolated machines in a mechanical universe. But what if we're actually just individual flowers in a deeply connected garden? It leaves you wondering, if the world asked you to bloom today, would you fight it or would you break beautifully? Think about that and keep exploring the incredible ideas we've uncovered here.